Hey guys, I'm Shannon from Shanta's Workshop, and today I wanted to show you how I do a full sheet water slide wrap on an epoxy tumbler. So the things you'll need for this project, you'll need a shallow dish of water that's large enough to fit your water slide image, a tumbler that has been prepped and epoxied until smooth. So this one, when I say prep, you sand your stainless steel tumbler, wash it with Dawn dish soap, and spray paint it a base color. This one I glittered with Karen from the Glitter Guy, and then I epoxied it. I think it took 2 coats to get it perfectly smooth. You will need scissors to cut out your water slide image, and I like using this silicone scraper brush thingy to smooth out the bubbles of my water slide image. The water slide decals I use are from Amazon. Not sure what brand they are, but these are for inkjet printer. My printer is an inkjet, so I get them for the inkjet printer. And you will also need to seal your image with some clear gloss sealer. This is semi-gloss. You can use this or regular gloss. I just happened to grab the semi-gloss and it works perfectly fine. I prefer Rust-Oleum brand. I haven't really tried others, so I just stick with what I like and what I know. Okay, so first thing you want to do is cut out your image. So I did seal my image 5 or 6 times because when I'm doing a full sheet, I want to be able to manipulate it how I need it to go. You can kind of stretch it a little bit and you don't have to worry as much about it tearing. So I'm going to cut this out so it's sealed all the way around the edges and it hasn't been cut to break that little seal. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, and I'm going to get as close to the border as I can, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. And this is not going to cover, it's not going to wrap entirely around my cup. It's not wide enough. So I will go back through with some alcohol inks and just kind of blend the scene together so that the white of my glitter isn't showing. So I've got my image cut out. You will also need some paper towels for this project. So I've got my shallow dish of water here, and it's not cold, it's not hot, it's just kind of room temperature. I'm going to get my paper towels ready, and I'm going to soak this. I'm going to hold the edges down for a second because they like to curl up, and I don't want them to curl. So I'm just going to hold it flat for a second and just let it soak. I'm going to let it soak for maybe a minute. They still want to curl. Just going to let it soak for maybe a minute, and then I'm going to test it. I'm going to test like the edges here to see when it starts to move off of the backing. So the way I test it is I just gently pinch it like I want to slide the image off, just like you would a smaller water slide. And I'm going to get my paper towels ready. So the main thing I'm going to do, got my paper towels here because I don't want to get my surface soaking wet. I'm going to hold my tumbler sideways because I'm basically just going to pull this out and roll and wrap whenever it's ready. I'm just testing to see. I don't want to, if you start to pull it off too soon, you're going to rip your water slide image, and we don't want that. And this is a 20-ounce skinny tumbler. I prefer, if I'm going to do a large water slide image like this, to use a skinny style tumbler as opposed to the curved ones. It's just a lot easier to work with and to line it up the way you want it without getting a ton of wrinkles. It's starting to move. So I think it's ready. So it's sliding around easily. So now I'm going to wet my tumbler, and you want to keep your tumbler wet so you can slide your image around without it ripping. Okay, and you want to make sure the top of your cup is at the top of your image. You don't want to put it on upside down. All right. So here we go. So I'm going to slide a little bit off towards me, towards the cup. And see, I still have the backing on, but I'm lining it up on the cup, just like this. And I'm trying to get it lined up with the top and the bottom because it is the same height as the cup. It's just not the same width around. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the end of the water slide right here, and I'm going to pull the backing out very slowly while I spin the cup with my other hand at the same time. So I'm slowly rolling the cup toward me and making sure my image stays straight. I'm rotating the cup a little, pull the backing out a little, rotate again, pull again, and I'm kind of trying to smooth as I go. And the reason I glittered the cup before doing the water slide is because I love seeing the glitter through this transparent water slide paper. Alright, so we got the rest of it out. So I'm just gently going back around. I'm going to slide it around. I want to get my cup a little wet. So see, I'm going to have this big area in the back since this wasn't a very wide water slide. And once it's dry, I will trim this excess here. I'm just smoothing out some bubbles and sliding it around. But this is where I will go in with alcohol inks and use my little, this is the mini applicator tool. Got some stuff stuck to it. The mini applicator tool from Tim Holtz, and I will take some black alcohol ink and just dab it on to have this line blend all the way around, and this is where my decal, my quote, or personalization will go. So I'm just going back through and adding a little more water because I want to be able to manipulate my water slide to see where it's like not lined up right here. It's kind of hanging off the bottom edge there. I'm just gently sliding it to where I want it. I'd rather it hang off the top than be wrinkled down here at the bottom because I can cover this the same way with the alcohol inks. So I'm just slowly kind of pushing it up a little bit, just keeping it wet so it doesn't start drying. And I'm stretching it a little around the cup to get the wrinkles out. Because the cup, I mean, it's a 20-ounce skinny, but it's not the same circumference from the top to the bottom. So now I'm going to take my silicone brush and I'm dipping it in the water a little bit. And I'm not putting much pressure on this at all. I'm just lightly going over the cup and making sure any water bubbles are making their way out, especially around the side here. You can see the glitter through the image is very pretty. And I'm just smoothing these edges out. I don't want it to be wrinkly around the bottom. little tear there on the edge, but that's fine. Alright, so it looks like we have all the bubbles out. Kind of hold it at an angle so you can see if there are any lumps or bubbles, and just gently scrape them out. Okay, and then once I think I have all of my water bubbles out, move this out of the way. I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm just going to gently blot away the excess water. Another paper towel. And you want to focus on, since this edge is kind of curved here, just making sure you have those edges pressed down so you don't have wrinkles at the bottom. And then we'll trim off this top. You can kind of even just flake it off at the top. With a bit of a bubble here, so I'm just kind of gently swiping down with the paper towel to move that over. And there is the Waterslide wrap. So it is starting to dry, and like I just take my finger up at the top and make sure that's all dry. Take your scissors and just line it up on the edge here. Got some vinyl stuck to mine. I'm just making sure I don't have any hanging over the edge. Any of those little spots up here, I'll use my alcohol inks to blend that in. And I wasn't too worried about the sizing on this one because I knew I was going to be blending with some black alcohol inks, but if I were doing just a complete full wrap, I would create a warped image, a warped version of this image to put on the cup so it matches up perfectly. So we've got it on, we've got all the bubbles out, and there you go. Okay, so our water slide has dried completely, and we are now ready to blend in this huge gap in the back. And like I said, this is where my quote or the person's name or whatever decal is going on the cup is going to go on this back side. So you can see all the pretty glitter showing through your transparent image. So we've got to blend in the bottom as well as a little along the top here in this seam. And what I'm going to use for that, I do wear gloves for working with alcohol inks just so I don't get inks all over my fingers. This is a Tim Holtz medium or Tim Holtz mini applicator, alcohol ink applicator. It comes with these little pads that you Velcro on. And we're just going to dab on the alcohol inks. I'm just using black alcohol ink. This is from Marabou. You can use any black alcohol ink that you like. I do like the Marabou inks because they are very pigmented, it seems. So I'm just going to put a little black ink on my little, I like to call it a dabber, on the little dabber. And I'm just going to start wherever, doesn't matter. I guess I usually like to start on the bottom. And I'm just going to start dabbing my inks on. And I'm going to go around the edge here. And we may need a second coat. If so, I will seal this with my clear spray, and then I will go back through and dab some more inks on. So if you try to just go back over the inks, a lot of times it's just going to take whatever inks away that you just put on there. So you can still see the glitter showing through the inks, which is really nice. I'm kind of like rolling the applicator as I dab it so that the full circle lays down on the cup. And I'm just going all the way to the edge. We're starting to hide that seam a bit. We want to make sure we go around this bottom edge too. We don't want to forget about that. And then we've got the top here where I peeled that away, but and see, this is why I'm wearing gloves, because I'm getting it on my hand. And now we've got that fully blend it around the edges. We may need to go back over on that part, and we've got some here we missed on the bottom. And I'm going back over where this kind of tore a little bit when I was applying it. So we're just going to hide that little tear. Just making sure I have all of my white areas covered. And I love using the inks to blend the seams just because you can still see the glitter through there. So that whole spot is still glittery. So now we've got our seam blended. A little bit more at the top. There we go. So I will let this dry and I will seal it with my clear gloss spray, and it will be ready for a decal for this side here. Thank you for watching. I hope you will subscribe to my channel and leave a comment if this was helpful or if you have any questions. Thank you.